I really liked Toxic Town, and I do think that the real triumph of it is in the structure of the storytelling. So I think that huge credit is due to Jack Thorne for managing to streamline the story, because I didn't know about this. I mean, you said yourself, this is a story that people may not know about, and they really should do. So after watching the thing, and I binge watched the whole thing all in one lot, and then afterwards I then went and read about it on the internet, and what you discover is that the real story is more complex, obviously, but is also more unwieldy. And what Jack Thorne has managed to do is to turn it into a structured drama that makes sense. It's not that it simplifies or misrepresents, but what it does is it makes it into a dramatic thing that actually plays out in a complete dramatic form. And I think that I do think the writing is central to that. The Brockovich comparison, I know that Robert Carlyle slightly bridled at it, although he did say that Erin Brockovich got in touch with the mothers, which was interesting. I hadn't known that. The thing with the Brockovich is it's a good shorthand, because people know the Erin Brockovich case through the Steven Soderbergh movie. And so it's that idea of a lawyer helping people to fight back against a sort of a much larger force, and not thinking that they have any power. I mean, I thought the point that you raised in that interview is that one of the most distressing things about this series is the fact that the mothers blame themselves, because of course that's the instinct. And there is a whole section with Jodie Whittaker's character, which not only does she blame herself, but later on when they get into the courtroom, the lawyer sort of blames her. Do you remember that scene in which he starts asking her about her life? Yeah. And it's really, really distressing. I mean, I think it's right. Yes, there are no bad guys as such. What there is a kind of corporate carelessness and a cutting of corners. I mean, this whole thing about, yes, what they're trying to do is to regenerate the area, to clear it, to turn it into something that will be better for the area. But they are doing it in such a way that it is having catastrophic consequences. And it's also worth remembering that at the very beginning of the series, you see these lorries ploughing through the streets, and you see the fumes of dust coming off the backs of the lorries and then falling into the gutter and then washing down away through. I thought that was directed really well, because it sort of sets everything up very, very early on. The phrase that either you or Robert Carlyle used, if there is villainy in it, then that villainy is haste. And that's established from the very beginning, that it's this thing about it's being rushed, it's not being done properly, and as a result of that, it doesn't matter why you're doing it. It is really genuinely toxic, as the title of the thing tells us. The other thing is that the drama ends with a series of statistics about just the wider legacy of the case, and I've heard Robert Carlyle talking as well about, the other areas that are affected by the disposal of toxic waste. So it brings the story up to date. It means that it's relevant. I mean, I found it very gripping. I found parts of it very upsetting, as you're meant to, and I did think all the way through, hats off to Jack Thorne for structuring this story in a way which is dramatically engaging first, and telling me about a story that I didn't know about and I should have known about.
And tougher to tell a story when the criminality is so banal. Yes. If there is a villain, it's so much easier to go, there you go, it's all his fault. And Brendan Cole's character, I think it says he's a composite. There wasn't Brendan Cole is not playing someone who actually existed, which maybe they needed they needed someone to personify the slack standards that had become endemic. But I think it'd be good.
Somebody who always used to be a but never used to be a which is...
That's right.
That is pure poetry, that line. It's pure poetry.
And all the better when said by Robert Carlyle.